Yeah, today we're glad to have James Zhang to join us, given the guest lecture, and after the talk, we'll have kind of like a fireside chat. James, he is a co-founder and CEO of Jambo phone, basically a Solana phone. And some lucky students may have the opportunity to get one from home, and you can try it. And James also is an advisor to Sharps Technology, which is a public company listed on NASDAQ, and is right now pretty hot term called DAT, right?
Yeah.
DAT company, and mostly I would say the company are purchasing Solana crypto assets, right, and so on. So I was a very pioneering entrepreneur, and the Jambo company raised more than $40 million from Paradigm, Pantera, Tiger, Coinbase, and many other VCs. All these are top-tier VCs, and if you have questions about how to raise funds, how to get in touch with this top-tier VCs, you can ask James later. And James started to enter the crypto space since the year 2017, right? Started by investing in some companies at that time may not be that big, but now most of them are giant companies like Bitman, like Coinbase, Masari, and others. And James is also an active thought leader and speaker at events such as Davos, Forbes Africa. So James actually is not Chinese, he's African.
Yes, sir.
And the consensus token 24/9. Okay, so let's welcome James.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. First of all, it's my honor to be here to chat with you guys today. I know this is a blockchain engineering class. I actually didn't know this was already part of.
You can sit here and such that the remote students can see. Yeah.
Oh, is that the camera for the remote students?
Yes.
In the back, okay.
Yes.
So yeah, first of all, thanks for having me. I'm excited. And look, my main two goals for today is just two main goals. Number one, share with you guys on Jambo, the company that I built, raised over 40 mil of venture funding, solving the mobile part of crypto. Welcome, students. This is how I would usually walk into the classroom, so you're good. So yeah, I'm assuming everyone here is learning about computer science, blockchain technology. If you found any company in the future, you potentially will need to raise venture funding from VCs, from investors, and hopefully I can share a bit about how that came about, what that process is like. Second part is, I saw in your curriculum, you've already talked about Ethereum, and you've talked about BNB, the last speaker. So first of all, who here has heard about Solana? Just raise of hands. Okay, this is an advanced class then. If I am the champion here to shield on Solana, then hopefully I will do a great job and leave you thinking, okay, I like what this guy has said about this blockchain than other ones, and if I'm gonna build a product in the future, it's gonna be there. So those are my two main goals. And let's make it more interactive. At any moment, you have a question like, what does he mean by that, or can you clarify that? Just raise your hand. We don't need to wait for the end to do Q&A. This is not a lecture, this is more of a sharing session with you guys. So excited, awesome. So maybe a quick background on myself, just so you know who you're speaking to you. James, Zhang, co-founder. I'm ethnically Chinese, 中国人, but I learned Chinese in 2017 after I lived in China. I actually grew up my entire life in Central Africa, so in Congo. Family's been there 3 generations, grew up my entire life. It was colonized by Belgians, so grew up speaking French, English at school, and then a bit of Mandarin here and there at home. Ended up at NYU, studied computer science there. Graduated in 2017, which is super lucky because 2017 is actually the first retail boom for crypto, right? It's when Bitcoin actually caught retail frenzy, mania, everyone's talking about it. I essentially graduated and I ran a fund for 4 years. So I was lucky enough, I have a sister that I grew up together with in Africa, and she's actually the only graduate from Congo, a country of 100 million people, to Colombia. So she was at undergrad, Columbia, CC. I was NYU. But she essentially was running a multifamily office, about 600 million AUM, because who's gonna give a 21-year-old $50 to manage and invest? Only your sister. So I essentially ran the crypto digital assets strategy for that. So anywhere went from like venture investing into companies like Masari, which are like trying to be the Bloomberg of crypto, type first check-in, to like Bitmain, which is like the backbone of crypto a little bit with proof of work, selling the mining rigs that secures Bitcoin, etc. And then all up until other funds as well. All right, so getting into here, Jambo. Basically 4 years later, 2021, I was like not interested in running a fund anymore. I'm like, why did I get into crypto? cross-border payments, remittances, banking and banked. All of the problems that basically Web3 can solve from legacy gatekeepers where I grew up in Africa. And all of that began and ended with mobile infrastructure. Because places like Latin America, Africa, they skip PC, they skip landline, they're already on mobile. So everyone holds a phone, but they don't have a bank account, right? Over 50% of people. You can't send money to your friend in Ghana if you are in Congo. Take it a step further, if you do business and you sell furniture in Senegal, in West Africa, you can't send someone your wood supplier money in East Africa. Huge issues. So essentially raised about $40 venture funding and started Jambo, which actually means hello in Swahili. So till today, we've sold a bit over 1 million phones to over 100 countries. And at the very simple level, this phone, it's a $99 US phone with iPhone 11 specs, smartphone. Only thing that's not like iPhone 11 is the camera. That's just, whatever money you spend on that building out is what it is. But it comes pre-installed with a lot of Web3 companies like Coinbase, like Solana, various products. Because we keep talking about onboarding that next billion users to crypto. It's probably not going to come from the same on-chain farms or the same projects and the same exchanges. It's maybe going to come from the global south, Latin America, Africa, where stable coins and crypto technology is actually used every day. The phone essentially comes with companies that pay us to give every dollar back to you. So Coinbase pays us money to put Coinbase wallet and their exchange inside of the phone. So that when you enter the phone, it's $99. It's cheaper than what you could buy alternatively. It's an Android-based system, so you can use the phone like a regular phone. And inside of it, there's an entire ecosystem of applications, just like Coinbase, that you just have to spend your time and you get paid. And you earn those tokens on Web3 rails. And we provide you on-off ramps in various countries. The first thing is multi-chain wallet. You talk about banking the unbanked. There's over 40% unbanked in Africa. Well, the first thing is probably a wallet that supports every cryptocurrency token, whether it's BNB, Ethereum, Solana, whichever, and then also provides you an off-ramp to local currency. Because if you're in Congo with Congolese franc, you don't care if you own Solana or not. You care if you can store your Congolese francs in a stablecoin in Solana, if you can off-ramp that and then hedge against hyperinflation. So at the end of the day, it's always like, what's that friction point with the end user? So the multi-chain wallet is the first thing. Second is Jambo. Is it all right if I walk around a little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. There's the camera. I was like, hey, stay right there. The Jambo OS. So it is an Android operating system, but if crypto is going mobile, why are we building in the walled gardens of Apple and Google, right? Anyone that's developed a mobile application here who submitted it, even without crypto rails, it's very hard to enter the App Store. And with stablecoin, instead of crypto rails, there's a lot of tape you got to go through that is not very fun. So we have our own decentralized app store, which basically, if you're an app, you're a crypto startup, you haven't built out the mobile part yet on Android, on iOS, you probably have a progressive web app, a PWA. And that can be pre-installed in our D App Store, decentralized app store, and users can already tap into it through the mobile. So there's a lot of new products that actually get launched directly through Jambo's decentralized app store. Number 3, instant earning opportunities. So we don't market this as a crypto phone anywhere in the world, because crypto sensitive digital assets, we call it the earn phone. You spend time inside of the phone, you earn money. It's as simple as that. It's basically like playing to earn, watching to earn, all of these things, and letting people spend the one thing that they have, which is time, right? They have time to spend, it's 24 hours, it's locked, and they can give that to you and onboard and do more metrics in your ecosystem if they can be rewarded with similar incentives. Kane, you want to switch the slide? So Solana as a case study. All right. Right after this, I have entire slides explaining Solana, so we'll get into that. But basically how we chose Solana is because I've been a builder, investor in crypto since 2017. Since the 2017 ICO days, from Ethereum, from everyone trying to launch a layer 1 and trying to raise venture funding, to everyone saying what technologies, et cetera, there are. Well, in 2020, this technology actually came out today called Solana. And I could stand here and tell you it does more transactions per second than every chain. It has the most users, it has the most liquidity, it has the most DEX volume. That means nothing to you. I'll just drop one metric that is respected in Web 1 or Web 10, and that's revenue. Solana did $900 million of revenue last quarter. Ethereum did 300 mil by comparison, right? I'm not trying to shit on Ethereum by bringing up this example. I'm simply stating Solana is the cheapest chain by transaction. You're talking like 0.000x. and still did 900 mil revenue. That just shows you the amount of users, the amount of transactions that are happening. A lot of people like to deem Solana as the meme coin chain, right? With a negative connotation, meme coins, pump and dumps, all these things. I agree, meme coins, a lot of it's bump and dumps. There's a lot of mercenaries any new technology has. You don't go into casino and win every game. But all of this can be looked at another way is all the transactions is happening on Solana. Why aren't the meme coins on Ethereum, on Sei, on Sui, on any other chain? Well, there is, but nowhere near the volume on Solana, because that's just where it's the easiest to deploy or capital. Say you guys graduate in a year, 2 years, highly talented coming out of Columbia, you're looking to build a product in crypto. Where do you look? You probably have two demands. You need users to be there on that chain, and you need liquidity to be on that chain. Well, the two metrics are both on Solana. 60% of tokens launched is on Solana, right? That's where the most liquidity and users are. So I would say you want to look at which ecosystem is going to develop. You look at where the talent is flowing, and we're seeing that a lot more in Solana. You look at the YC of crypto, Alliance style, right? There is only one. And they, every year, every cohort publish their numbers of where the startups are building. Is it Polygon? Is it Ethereum? Is it BNB, et cetera? Solana leads that every year in terms of where the newest startups accept, which is like 0.1% acceptance rate, and those 0.1% of startups are all building on Solana. So essentially our partnership with Solana, it's not like I built them the most amazing products on Solana, right? Anatoly is the founder of Solana. I don't own Solana. You know, the most amazing products are built by some of the smartest people. We are a platform at Jambo. So we have essentially all these products rolled up into the phone, which you can then spend time and assess your access. I should also state these three phones at the end of this maybe 10, 15 minute more session, I'm just gonna ask 3 questions and then you just raise your hand. It could be as simple as where is James from in Africa? Or how many phones have we sold? Whoever answers it correctly gets a phone. And I genuinely want to give everyone a phone. So I'll give you a website link as well to order it, but I brought 3 with me. So yeah, to wrap it up, you see, this is Breakpoint. So it's at the Solana conference every year. We unveil the Jambo Phone 2. So essentially double, triple the specs of everything that Jambo 1 did, but we keep the $99 price point. Our phones are manufactured in China, in Shenzhen, in Dongguan, which is where like 3,000 to 5,000 factories doing everything hardware related. And we essentially sourced our own 2 factories, spent a year building it out, the production lines, to be able to lower the cost and to basically scale and ship at scale. Did about 70 million revenue last year, close to 110 million revenue this year. We're building at a very break-even point in the tech model. We raise VC funding. You want to increase as much numbers as possible because the more distribution I have, the more leverage I have to negotiate with partnership companies like Coinbase to give us more rewards to give our end user. So it's essentially like a flywheel effect. The other thing like really good about building a Solana is most of the payment rails that are set up, you don't even have to worry about the tech. You can actually plug in APIs and work directly with these tech teams. Like if you're working with Ethereum, and I'm just using this as a reference point, there is like, if I need help on a tech or on a pain point, who do I reach out to? There is no company at the Ethereum Foundation. There is no one a dev that will just come and help you. At Solana, I can call up Akshay for help on marketing. Literally, the president is directly accessible to point you in the direction of whichever team you want to reach. They have media team, comms team, right? Money 2020 FinTech conference in Vegas next week. They have events there. They can set you up, spotlight speaking. So it's like run like a business beyond just decentralized. Yes, to this point, we raised 7.5 million funding in the seed round at a 30 mil valuation. And then we raised 30 mil funding in the Series A about half a year later at a 200 mil valuation. It was led by Paradigm, a few others like Tiger Global, et cetera, all in. My advice for anyone here that might be building a product in the future that's going to raise from investors is very simple. Number one is the trend is very important, obviously. So for us, it's mobile, right? Mobile is a trend and distribution. So in that, investors see a lot of value. I think today, I was just walking around the back. I saw one of you guys had the Poly Market open your computer. I think the homie with the white hoodie right there. That's their trend right now. They raised $2 billion from the New York Stock Exchange, ICE, at a $9 billion valuation. Kalshi, their competitor, just raised at a $5 billion valuation, like $500 million. So number one is you got to be on trend to consumer to distributing whatever is sexy, because unfortunately, you might just be too early. If you might have the best idea, but if you're too early, it's hard to find funding as well, because the investors, it's not like they can just invest in who they want as well, right? They also, everyone has someone they got to report back to. The investors have LPs, right? Family offices, individuals, fund of funds that they have fund reports to. And their mandate is to invest in X, Y, and Z. And they group you in these categories and stuff. So we can have a much longer conversation around the fundraising part. And also 2020, 2022 was a very different time than today. But I think as a general framework, what you're building on, so Solana, and the tech that you're building, is it to consumers, is it to businesses, and et cetera, will be very important on the funding side. So maybe I'll stop there first on the Jambo part before we dive into Solana. Does anyone have questions so far?
I just have a quick question on kind of how you market Jambo, because maybe in the United States, sometimes I feel like we're like in this bubble. So if you're marketing this in Africa, let's say Congo, and you kind of alluded this a little bit where you said it's not a crypto fund, it's like an earn fund, right? Like, are they aware of terms like Solana, or like, how do you, because at the end of the day, I don't think they care about, or maybe I'm wrong, they don't care about how to get on-chain, how to get off-chain. But Solana, they just want to be able to send their money to somebody else.
Exactly.
Right? So how do you kind of resolve that? Like, it's a very technical phone in a sense, right? Like, Solana's a very technical thing. Blockchain is a very technical thing.
Mm-hmm.
How do you kind of resolve that? And how do you market that to people?
For sure. What's your name?
Daniel.
Daniel. Great question, Daniel. So you're exactly right. They don't care if they're on-chain, off-chain. They don't care if they're using BNB, Solana, Ethereum. What they care is that they can seamlessly send the transaction and it's usable. If I wanted to market this as a crypto phone, I wouldn't say it's a crypto phone. I say this is the most secure phone, right? This is security. This is cold storage phone. You using this phone is crypto because your assets are more secure. But they don't care about that. When you're making $300 a month or a year, one in like just think emerging market, right? $99, you're probably not buying a $99 phone. When you're buying a phone, you're looking at iPhone, Samsung, Huawei, whichever, right? So this is a different group of people. And the second is you want to market to them in a way they understand, which is that you can directly earn capital. So you're right. In the marketing, it is very hard to market in a crypto specific manner. So it's more in a very digestible Trojan horse of how to onboard, which I feel like is generally most products today. When you market to consumers, you have to, like, you look at Gemini, you look at Circle, basically any company in crypto that's about to IPO, you'll see their billboards around in the bus stops and in Times Square, because now they have to ramp up their marketing budget to get ready for the IPO. So most of them are putting it very managed that consumers understand. You spend this credit card, you earn 4% in Bitcoin or in Solana back. So things like that. You're exactly right.
How did you get started? Like, did you start by fundraising, or did you start by assembling the team with the initial team size? Because we know that building a phone is hard, even with all the infrastructures. So yeah, how did you get started?
Great question. So I'm lucky that my co-founder was picked for me from the moment I was born, which is my sister. So I think the most important thing in a co-founder is the trust component and obviously capability. So that was already there. In terms of assembling the actual product and the team, I think you just start with small is always better. You have teams of 4 or 5 people trading 10, 20, $30 billion. Tiger Global, all the Tiger clubs, running hedge funds like a family office style. More people doesn't mean you're doing great. If every hire has to be that next 10x person. So actually that's the best time to found a co-founder, probably someone in this room right now, right? In that regard. Second is on the actual build out of the supply chain, VCs just don't invest in hardware. That's just something I knew when I started the company. It's not scalable. Software is scalable. It's just the easiest 1, 2, 3 when you start VC, don't invest in hardware. I think a lot of VCs took a chance on us because, honestly, because of my background, being Chinese and having the advantage to the supply chain in Asia and being able to produce like 1 million units of the phone at the like $59, excluding sales, custom tax, distributor cut, but then also having that distribution of Africa, of LATAM, because I've grown up my entire life in emerging markets. So I think that was a big point. But it still took about 1.5 years to even get the phone out and then to build it up. So definitely there's a time difference between when you assemble the team. I would assume that's the first part, right? You don't want to just have an idea without having any team members, because the product is only as good as who you're hiring. Second to that is then you go raise venture capital. How much runway do you have to actually build everything out, which you want to stay lean as possible to have a long runway. And then for us, it was the product part of starting the supply chain and stuff like that. Yeah. Cool.
Would you mind sharing a little bit on the revenue model?
For sure. So very simple. Is the phone is produced, it's actually at $69, the next version of $59. So all of our revenue is break even. So we actually don't make money and we don't lose money on the phone. We give when you want to ship to 128 countries, you have to deal with customs, sales, taxes around the globe. Some countries like Egypt, they just don't let foreign companies import electronics, then you just have to miss out. But other than that, a lot of it is just the pure revenue of the hardware. And then the real sweet spot is growing the actual software, the decentralized app store, and the margins you take from payments, right? We're not trying to make a single dollar on the phone, because if every one of you have the phone, even if I give it to you at a cost, that's very powerful for me as a platform with a lot of other businesses that I'm working with on the payments part. And then from transactions, you just take 10, 20 bips of a transaction or even less, and you're hitting sort of a scale skywheel effect. So if I was to say is hardware is a huge portion of that, but the scalable part is actually the software. When we started last year, so 2024 January, we started shipping the phones, did 70 mil revenue last year. I would say about 70% of that is hardware, 30% from software. This year it's flipped. 70% of our revenue is coming from software, 30% from hardware. And we're trying to see that go more and more, basically. Cool. So Solana, it's a layer 1. Its programming language is in Rust. Actually, our head of engineering for our company is sitting at the back there, so anyone with engineering questions on Solana can feel free to hit him up. But like I said, it really depends what you're doing this for. If you are an investor here and we're all trading meme coins or something, you're like, James, should I buy Solana, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Hype, or whichever? My advice always to friends, not financial advice, is just take 1% of your money, throw it into a basket of Bitcoin, Ethereum, BNB, Solana, Hype, and call it a day. 5 years later, look back, that might be 99% of your portfolio, right? But we're talking about building. We're talking about builders. That's why we're all in this room. That's why you're taking this class. So my pitch today to you is not really a pitch, but to show you why even me being an investor so many years in the ecosystem and choosing to launch this next company, which I explain right after I explain Solana, all chose Solana, right? People, liquidity, users, products, development, etc. It does 3,750 transactions per second. I think it's outdated. It's actually closer to 4,000 now. Median fee per transaction is less than like a cent. New developers in 24 was 7,600. I think it was a bit over 10,000 so far this year already, which is quite a bit, especially in Rust development. Fastest and most used blockchain in the world. Another way to say all of these stats in one sentence is Solana is the most commercially viable blockchain in the world. And the reason I say that is in crypto and digital assets, especially you guys in comp sci building, understand that if you're optimizing for something, you have to give something else up. If you're optimizing for security, you're optimizing for payments, like people talk about the payments chain, you're optimizing for privacy, Monero, Zcash, et cetera, you're giving something else up. And that's what happens by fragmenting liquidity. Because when you're optimizing, there's so many different chains to do so many different things, liquidity is fragmented. You can do all of these things on Solana. That's why Solana is powerful. It brings all these siloed, fragmented pockets of liquidity onto one chain because it can actually sustain it in terms of technical part, but then also on the commercial part, where Solana is easily accessible in multiple venues, right? You look at Bitcoin and its predecessors, why it's so popular, and then Solana's footprint. Bitcoin is 17 years old. It has over 40 ETFs, right? Publicly traded wrappers that give you access to Bitcoin. Hundreds of public companies, even in the NASDAQ and New York Stock Exchange, hold Bitcoin on its balance sheet, right? Ethereum is 11 years old. It has over 20 ETFs, and a lot of companies, even in Japan, in Hong Kong, hold Ethereum on its balance sheet. Solana is 5 years old. It came out in 2020. It has over 20 pending ETF approvals in Q4 this year. So within the next 30 to 60 days, you'll probably see a Solana ETF approved. And there's 8 public companies on the NASDAQ/NYSE that are holding Solana on its balance sheet. So you see where I'm going with this. You pair a high value asset and narrative with public exposure and wrappers with access to more capital, right? ETFs and other public companies holding it that access the stock as a way to Solana, then you essentially get that frenzy. So I would argue right now, Solana being 5 years in, is honestly one of the best times to build on it, because this is where I see daily as a builder where the most liquidity users, et cetera, are, and that more and more attention is going to come from its price movement. Solana today is price cycle. Actually, you know what? There's a lecture not giving me price predictions, but definitely very bullish. So top 5 market cap token is the 5th largest. Daily trading volume, number 1 in app revenue, staking yield, developer growth, total usage. Let's talk about that a bit. Staking yield. Who knows Solana staking yield here? Native staking yield. It's 7%. What does that mean? Solana staking yield 7%. When you put your money in a bank account, how much APY does your bank account give you, right? Maybe less than 1%, a few percent, very little. Solana is a productive asset. Bitcoin has no yield. You hold Bitcoin, you stake it, you can't stake it, it's proof of work. It's not a productive asset. Solana is proof of stake. Just by securing the network and staking your Solana, meaning clicking one extra button when it's in your wallet, you earn 7% native APY, right? If you optimize, you could get potentially up to 10%. So another potential here is, say you're a company, you're holding Solana on balance sheet, you're on the NASDAQ. Say you have $500 million of Solana, $500 million. You earn 10% staking yield. That's $50 million of revenue a year with very low CapEx and OpEx costs because you're just staking. And Wall Street gives you earnings multiples of 5x up to 30x of that. So just by holding Solana as an asset, it's productive, you're earning revenue, and you're essentially hedging against hyperinflation in emerging markets. So, cool. Sharps Technology. So I'm the strategic advisor to this company, basically launched it, the strategy about 2 months ago. So there's this phenomenon right now of obviously digital assets as a whole becoming more mainstream, right? People talk about the 2017 cycle, that was the retail cycle. 2020 cycle, that was sort of the DeFi, blue chip, also retail cycle. Well, this cycle is a bit different. It's not 4 years, it's longer, and it's the institutional cycle, where you see the Genius Act approved. You see the most powerful man in the free world, Mr. Trump, launching a token himself, right? The Trump coin, his own meme coin. What chain is that on? You guessed it, Solana. The Clarity Act potentially getting approved. Fidelity, as of this morning, started offering Solana and crypto assets, honestly, as general, to their users. So they already offered Bitcoin, Ethereum. So just Solana starting this morning. BlackRock's IBIT ETF did more volume than its S&P 500 ETF, right? So I say all this to say this is institutional cycles. Nation states are printing money to own more of these digital assets. You have the entire C-suite exec team of the US government that has one goal. It's literally called Project Crypto. Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary, said, which is to increase crypto and keep it in America and not around the world. So you see a proliferation of all these companies that are publicly traded. Then now they see all these users that want to own these digital assets, but they can't because of, number one, tax. In Japan, you have to pay a very high tax rate to own the digital assets, but to own a stock, you pay no tax. So also to own a Bitcoin, you need to know how to set up your wallet, you need to open an exchange account and all these things. So now these public companies start saying, you know what, let me buy a lot of these digital assets and be like an ADR, be a wrapper. You want access to the digital asset, you can just buy my company stock. And you see this in London, in Brazil, in whichever. So this has already been happening for years, and the largest company doing this is called MicroStrategy, right? Michael Saylor. So we essentially raised on August 25th, $410 million and bought this all into Solana as part of a digital asset treasury strategy for a NASDAQ pubco. Now this NASDAQ pubco is called Sharps Technology. It's already been running for multiple years, and we essentially seized everything that it does. So this company does nothing now except for owning Solana and raising more cash to buy more Solana. So we essentially bought in about $2.1 million of Solana, so $410 million. With the 7 to 10% staking rate, you're essentially earning $30, $40 million a year of revenue. Doing our earnings call soon. So this is like really running a public company with digital assets, providing exposure for it to the public. Timeline. Just to give you guys a quick overview of this phenomenon, it's called digital asset treasuries, right? It's a treasury company for a digital asset. Started with MicroStrategy here about a few years ago, and then now it's come up to MetaPlanet, which is in Japan, and multiple other ones. Smarter Web Company is in London. BitMine, this is a treasury company for Ethereum, arguably the most successful one right now, to be honest. Of course, BNC, the BNB one that YZI Labs, who Ella spoke last week, sponsored, and this is their vehicle for BNB and to North America. So BNB is an even more interesting one. It's not tradable in North America. You cannot trade BNB here, right? Because it's a Chinese token, it's exchange token, it's all in the East. So all the rails are in the East. All the crypto exchanges are what? The most important ones, Upbit, Binance, Bybit, OKX, all Chinese or Korean. Most trading volume over there. But technology-wise, where is Solana validator and where is the VCs that invested is actually more in the West. So that's an interesting part as well, that when you build your startup, cater towards traders in the East, but the technology in the West. So yeah, this is essentially what we're doing with Sharps Technology is we're now running a public company, providing more access to Solana and increasing everyone's Solana per share, where if you own one share of this stock in like a year, say if our management team company executes well, we keep raising more cash and buying that into Solana, and you actually own more Solana by holding a share of the stock than actually just going to buy a Solana yourself. So, cool. Last slide. A lot of media. To be honest, whatever you do, Jambo, Sharps Technology, Solana, as you can tell, Jambo is a lot more venture building, hardware, software, Solana, eco. This is a lot more public company type stuff. You have to do media everywhere. And this isn't media like in vanity, like, hey, I love myself, I want to do media and show, or hey, I want to show my investors. This is literally someone can see your company branding, walk up, see Times Square, see Sharps Technology or Sol DAT, and potentially get interested, showing this venue, because you have a lot of investors, not just from the US, right? They're not just based here. They're in Tokyo, they're in Seoul, they're in Hong Kong, and this is a lot of different exposure things that you have to do. Partnerships, probably one of the most important things, but wrongly executed in most scenarios. We can go into later detail about how most partnerships are executed. Most of the time, actually, doesn't even really make sense if you look at it. So who here knows what Pudgy Penguins is? Okay, so obviously this partnership didn't really matter for y'all. So Pudgy Penguins is like a Web3 IP brand, probably the leading one right now. Obviously not doing that well, if no one here knows about it. And then we essentially did a partnership with them so their users would buy STSS stock, learn about Sharp Technology, Solana. They're also on Solana. And there's like a cultural IP activation with like a more institutional treasury. But usually with these partnerships, even if there is no monetary value involved, this, for example, increased trading volume by tenfold in the post markets, just with this one announcement, with nothing that actually happened. And I think that's what you start to realize as well when a lot of VC rounds and stuff you see on Silicon Valley Twitter congratulating all that. It does look a lot of vanity, but it is also necessary to get a lot of the word out there. I guess LinkedIn is usually the route to do, but I think there's been a lot of changes, especially in how the digital assets industry actually likes to market and do things like that. Cool. And yeah, please email kane@soulmarkets.com. We're heavily hiring right now for both Jambo and Sharps Technology. So if you believe in Solana, you're a talented engineer, paid internship, whichever, we'll find you a position as long as you dope. So please reach out. Thank you. Awesome. Maybe I could fire off 2 questions first?
Yes.
Okay. All right. First question for a Jambo phone. How many countries do we ship this to? Oh.
128.
All right, you got it. Here you go. Yeah, that hand went up quick. Thank you. There you go. All right, I got to think of a harder question for the second one. How much revenue did Solana do last quarter?
900.
Damn, the 2 people that ask questions got it. I guess the ones who pay attention do get it. Respect. Here you go, bro. All right. You asked the question, last one.
Okay, when Sharps Technology got IPO?
I actually didn't say it. Yeah, I didn't even say it. Yeah.
Take a guess, which month?
2026.
Huh?
2026.
No. This year? This year.
year.
Yeah. Which month?
Which month?
March.
Close. It was in August. Yeah. Damn, bro, I'm trying.
You can ask another question.
What programming language is Solana in?
Rust.
Ah. Sorry, he had his hand up. Thank you. Here you go, bro.
Huh.
Awesome. Cool.
Okay, cool. Yeah, question time.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I actually have one more question. Just
Yeah,
I want to get your.
you can use this.
Oh, okay. Actually, based on your previous experience, investing and also building on Solana, and maybe this is just maybe I have a biased view of my feed, but there's still a lot of like hype around these like layer one. There's like recent ones that raised a lot of money. Like, what do you think is there an angle? Obviously, Solana is very reputable. Is there an angle for like a new layer one to come out, or is it over? Like, what is your kind of thinking there? It's kind of a hard question because no one.
No, it's cool. It's actually a very easy answer.
Yeah.
The answer is there was one that just came out that literally every centralized exchange, every layer one, and every builder is scared of because they're trying to have all of that in their ecosystem. And that layer one is called Hyperliquid. HYPE. Hype is the ticker. And there's 11 people, engineers on it, and they've done, I think, arguably more revenue than Solana since they've launched, actually, and capture a lot of mind share. So this is what's interesting about crypto as well. Even you have these chains that are there for years, decades, someone new can come along and build something very interesting. And everything is on chain. That's the difference. It's as if right now on Binance, if I trade, you would not know how much I've made, how much is in an account, what positions I've taken. This is all off chain in a way because it's in a centralized wrapper. On Hyperliquid, whatever you trade, you can have the entire community behind you because everything is on chain. It's all fully verifiable, and Hype is honestly great. Like my own portfolio, I own quite a bit of it. So if there's a new chain, new technology that comes up that can rival any of these, then most likely on the price action already is a huge benefit. So I'll say the hardest thing for a new chain to emerge, look at Hype, only 11 developers, right? They obviously have a big ecosystem, but it's the new developer onboarding because it's not that easy to just change the entire developer ecosystem from programming in Python to JavaScript and then to Rust or to et cetera, and then to have all the documentations and everything ready. So that's probably the biggest challenge if it's in a different language. Yeah.
Another question. So you're saying that you don't earn a lot from hardware. I assume that the hardware part is in that part.
Mhm.
So are there any specific barriers that stop you from, let's say, transferring every software that you have in this phone to another Android phone that is, let's say, more well-known?
Great question. No, actually, our moat is not on the software itself. I guess our moat, number one, is hardware. Because if you look at most crypto projects that are doing hardware, there's only like a handful, and they all ship like 10, 20, 30,000 units, and it's all pre-orders. Like you have to pre-order it, then you get it in 2-3 months. For us, it's you order it, you receive it within the 30 days shipping time, and it's already made. And this is, I think, the preparation of able to do venture fundraising, and then to do a lot of that. So I think the moat being hardware because we built our own supply centers. Otherwise, people usually OEM most of the stuff from Asia. So I say number one is it is easy to transfer over the software, but it isn't easy to transfer over the ecosystem in terms of like the intuitiveness when you enter the phone. So you got one now, so I hope when you play around with it, you can check like, hey, I just opened the phone, I came into here, I just made my multi-chain wallet address. What's it like to actually use the Solana rails? What's it like to play that new game, a D-app game on the decentralized app store? So like that walkthrough took a lot of time and reiteration of that team. Yeah.
How do you work with all the different crypto companies to generate profit from transactions? Like how do you design the experience of payment and transactions to get profits from that?
For sure. So number one is there's hundreds of companies building on Solana, right? So going to some of the meetups and conferences and meeting the builders in person, especially in New York, is like a huge value add because you actually build like that personalness and working together. Everything is done through Zoom, to be honest. Like most of my fundraise was done through Zoom. Most of the partnerships on calls are through Zoom because everyone's decentralized, in crypto in general. So that's just the way it is, and it's very efficient, but the in-person is good. How to actually design so that you earn revenue and from the payment protocols, that's just your tokenomics. So when you set, like Bitcoin as its white paper, right? It's designed to be digital gold, programmable money. While similarly for our white paper, it's designed in a way for us to be able to work with many other protocols, and we're not building everything ourselves. If we want to build every payment protocol, every game, every IP that we put on the phone, these are all like single projects that would need to go raise millions of dollars from VCs and a lot of developers to do. So by circumventing all that time and quality to bring directly in, you can essentially reward, because you have two parts. You have the business and you have the consumer. You need to make sure that both businesses are revenue generating, that's long term, but that the incentive is maximized for the consumer. Because in crypto, everything is so commoditized, in my opinion. Like, I can take probably a handful of projects on Solana and be like, look, go build on Ethereum, on BNB, on Sui, on Sei, on Hyperliquid, and these foundations will give you like this much incentive. They probably will do it. The tech change up is not that hard. There's turnkey solutions. Like if you want to launch a new Solana tomorrow, layer 1, there are entire companies that are set up for you to do that. Like turnkey white label solution, launch a new blockchain. What's hard about that's not commoditized is actually the flywheel effect and the flow of the users of how to do that. So I'll say make sure that's right, because the tech for sure is there.
Yeah, another question about consumer adoption of crypto. So like in different areas of the world, right? People, when they get like motivated to use crypto, they perceive it as money, right? And
right.
How do you convince them that, like, or how do you communicate with them that the rewards they get is actually valuable?
Oh, okay, I see. Good question. Yeah. If you send someone from Nigeria and Lagos like $10 on Bitcoin, they most likely won't even know what it is. They won't know where to go to off-ramp, things like that. But yeah, maybe I'll share a story. The reason I even got into crypto is because in 2015 in comp sci class, I learned about Bitcoin, right? And I was like, there was a 15-person comp sci intro class, learned about Bitcoin. I was like, let's see if this thing actually works. And I sent it to my friend in Congo, who I grew up with, and it actually worked. And he was able to off-ramp that locally very quickly as well, like P2P. So I was like, oh, just that in itself hooked me. I didn't know about Ethereum. I didn't know about smart contracts in the sense of like building programmable chains and blockchains and what layer 2s were. I just knew this one single use case of programmable money on Bitcoin in Africa, like that works. So I say the story, point out, in these regions, people genuinely are looking for an out. They know they're screwed by hyperinflation, by the government, by how much notes are being printed in Zimbabwe. So and the population is very young. Like it's an average age, like less than 25 in many African countries where I'm from. So they're looking for these new outs. So to convince them, it's not so much a convincing like, hey, this thing is worth money. Just show them. Like we have videos, like tutorials obviously that show how easy it is to convert directly from our app. But also when we give you, say like the USDC from Coinbase, you also have cash out options, and that might be through local vendors because they don't have bank accounts, or through mobile money. Because in Africa, your SIM card is kind of like your bank account. Like you send mobile money to everyone. So that's a lot of rails that we tap into localize as well. Yeah. Good question.
Any more questions?
Are you building a consumer crypto app right now? No?
Just
Okay.
a consumer app.
All right.
Yeah, they have final projects.
With crypto rails?
Please, sorry.
With like digital asset, like rails, like payments with crypto?
For this course project, we were building like an NFT for ticketing.
Oh, NFT ticketing.
Yeah.
Okay. What was that company? Didn't they just raise a huge round for like Ticketmaster, Web3 Ticketmaster? You know what I'm saying? No, that's a huge idea. Like, yeah, I think I know 2 or 3 companies that in the previous cycles did it. Right now, one company is doing it. I think it's just been hard because when you work with StubHub, Ticketmaster, and all these guys, there's like a lot of intermediary things that you can't foresee, and then you have to have certain connections. But obviously, the Web3 rail solves that. Yeah. Cool.
I have a question. So regarding so in Jambo's like context, so you guys trying to simplify the user's experience, like kind of create a wallet for them. But do you want them to stick to Jambo's ecosystem, or you want to be like make them to be free Web3 citizens?
Great question. To be honest, all the user flow that we have, our ecosystem is a free Web3 citizen, if that makes sense, because none of the products inside are my products. It's not like the payment rails, the games, the IP, the wallets are mine. These are Coinbase's wallets, some of the best Web3 games. So we're trying to basically pick the dopest products that are out there to onboard a new person to crypto. Like say you're a 19-year-old, how old are you? 23. Say you're 23, not from China, but from Nigeria, okay? And you grew up in Lagos. And someone wants to onboard you to crypto. You can imagine what you will optimize for. You're not optimizing for security, for what chain you're on or any of these things. You're optimizing for making money, right? And having a local currency. And your time is what you have to give. So my entire user flow of this company in the last few years is how do we get that person to believe in crypto by using something that doesn't need to be, hey, you need to believe in crypto to use this. And that best idea that I could come up with is a phone that's cheaper than what they could buy, but better specs, so $99 smartphone, Android, but a Trojan horse with all the apps that you open up, the front page, 10 apps, the second page, 5 apps. You can't really pass that many, otherwise it dilutes the brand. And just for them to already use it intuitively with certain tutorials, and they can start earning the money, yeah. So if you have a better idea of how to onboard that 23-year-old from Lagos, let me know. But yeah, that is the best I could come up with, yeah. Of course.
Any other questions?
I mean, I just have it's kind of a smaller question, but I'm curious, like on Android phone, like a non-Jambo Android phone, to basically like pre-install these different apps, you kind of have an intermediary almost all the time. Do you guys do it directly with Coinbase, or is there someone in the middle facilitating all that?
Like the actual apps that are pre-installed on our phone?
Yeah, exactly.
So we do that from the OS level from the factory. So when the phone is produced, these are the OS specs that are inside. Like we choose what app is already installed, etc. That being said, you are free to delete every app that's in the phone. Say whoever won the Jambo phone opens it, you're like, man, I don't like this guy, I don't like the apps inside, I'm just gonna use this as a secondary phone in my real life. You can delete every app inside. But then you might ask, James, what about all those apps that didn't make the App Store, that didn't make Android Store? How do users access that? Which is probably some of the newest crypto apps. Then you go to our D App Store. So there actually is one app you can't delete, it's the Jambo app. And inside the Jambo app is the multi-chain wallet. So this actually is our own product, it supports 13 chains. So you can use that wallet, or you can use any of the other wallets that's also pre-installed, so it's your choice. And then also within the Jambo app is the D App Store, decentralized app store, where there's a bunch of progressive web apps that are new. That you can't pre-install on the phone because it's not on Android yet. Yeah.
But you guys have a direct partnership with every.
Yeah. Direct, exactly. Yeah, because it's beyond just like hey, we're partnering. It's like they need to wire us hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to then give to our users, and we need to have statistics of the beautiful thing about owning hardware, even though it's so hard, is that you can track every metric. You can see what users are spending time on. So a daily average time the user spends on the phone is 5 hours, which tells us that's almost like a primary phone. And then within those apps, the Jambo app is probably the most time because that's like a central hub. And then sometimes they don't even open a lot of the other apps. They only open the first page, you just do what they want. But at the end of the day, there's like a tie-in if you're using the Jambo phone that you would spread word of mouth to like your community, to your friends, and then onboard people. So great question. We're actually in 128 countries, so I don't know how many more countries to expand to, but we've pretty much picked most of the countries we can sell to. So we're in 128, and you're right, the next product that we're actually announcing is not a phone. So just to share with you guys, it's a tablet, so it's $200, so it's double the price, and we're upselling to our user base already, and we're selling it as a iPad, but a mining rig. So a lot of everything you have in front of you has compute power, and you can contribute that compute power and earn tokens from it. And that earliest form of that was in 2009. You can just use your computer and mine Bitcoin, right? And now there's like GPU ASIC chips that are tailor-made for it with billion-dollar companies, but at the most basic level. So in Solana, there's a lot of what you call DePIN projects. It's called decentralized infrastructure networks. So for example, like Helium, that is like internet. So right now you use internet, you use Verizon and stuff. It's like a Web3 Verizon. You can directly use their hotspots around. It's actually available in New York. There's HiveMapper, decentralized Google Maps. So there's actually a bunch of these products that raise millions of dollars done by people the same age as us, right? I'm 29, you're 30, 23. So like, it's actually quite amazing. And then in that is this tablet will have all of those apps pre-installed, and it'll be mining their token by contributing the compute power of the tablet. So you'll just be making money without even spending time on the thing. Because that's what I realized, to make things, you're always trying to simplify. And then for the phone, what's the friction point? The friction point is the user actually has to spend time in those apps. You have to play some games and do some stuff. Well, now with the mining tablet, you can just leave this on and you're earning money. So, yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I kind of missed the first part of the presentation, so I don't know like.
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, no, a lot of users probably don't even know we ship to 100 countries. That's actually another pain point running a company is no matter what marketing you do, people listen to like 5% of it, so yeah.
So about the distribution channel, you
Okay.
sell to like this many countries, right?
Yeah.
How do you scale or fast do you just connect with local vendors? Like how do you work with them?
Okay, so that's actually the real moat of, I feel like, why a lot of VCs invested, because we had distribution just from like a lot of personal tie-ins and previous companies. So I already had like access to a bunch of distributors in these emerging markets. So our largest market right now is Brazil, and then Argentina, and Nigeria, Kenya. So like, and a lot of these, like say I'm Chinese, right? 我是第三代在刚果，在非洲. So like third generation in there. There's similar Chinese third generation in each of these countries. And they probably all run businesses or just know all the other Chinese that run businesses. And what businesses do you need for distribution? Maybe the supermarket to have your phone at the front, stores, electronic stores, online, like who owns the Amazon. So I had to like tap into a lot of like personal connections to find distribution and like from previous lives, basically, yeah.
Well, any more questions?
So to use this Jambo ecosystem, do you need to actually have a Jambo phone, or is it, do we have a software version where someone can just try it out?
So you can download the Jambo app on your Android phone, and you can download all the other apps pre-installed on your Android phone as well. Yeah, but that's the thing that we were trying to solve with the phone, is that all-in-one ecosystem, because no one's gonna go listen to my presentation and be like, let me download the Jambo app and then the other 10 apps in their ecosystem and then try this how they want it, right? People usually one level of friction and you lose a consumer. So for us, it's like, I'm gonna build the entire phone. From the moment you log in, you make an account, you already made your multi-chain wallet in the Jambo app, and then you're kind of like have a sunken cost of, you're already in the phone, you're already doing all this, let me just try out the other things. Then you might start seeing, I just made 50 cents a dollar, which means nothing here, but a lot, you know, in those emerging markets. Then you sort of try to hook on the user. Yeah.
So basically, even if they're using other Android phone and download your Jambo app, and they can still kind of like earn money or earn yield.
So the Jambo app is a repository that tells you where to earn the money.
Gotcha.
And those would be the other apps that are pre-installed. Yeah. So that's why I'm like, it would still need to download more stuff, so it would be annoying. Yeah.
Got it.
I didn't know you were listening. I thought you were on the computer the whole time. Yeah, sorry.
Hi, Jim. I just wonder, when you were like deal with local African administration government, so will they like support your idea, or will this think, what you've done is actually harming their benefits or something? So how do you just tackle this problems?
That's a really good question. So when I started off the marketing, a lot of it is A/B testing. It was around digital assets and crypto, because I don't think there's a negative connotation to it being in the industry. Then quickly you'll realize, as you're marketing it in French and Spanish and many other languages and jurisdictions, there is a lot of pushback from the government, actually, because maybe there's some scam that happened there I didn't know about, and now they're imprinted with it and then don't want to deal with it. So that is why I was like, so our marketing team was very smart. They changed it to the earn phone, right? You earn money from it, you're providing jobs, right? So yeah, since then, it's like, Botswana is the only country in Africa out of 54 countries that has a crypto like digital assets license. So like 2 years ago with like Chris Maurice of Yellow Card, which is the largest on-off ramp provider from fiat currency to crypto in Africa that we work with a lot, we like spoke in front of the president and his administration on crypto and stuff. Not saying that helped, in pushing that at all, but they're definitely very open to speaking with you now, as more countries are sort of like, because Botswana is only 2 million people, right? Where I'm from is 120 million, Nigeria 200 million. So it's like a relatively smaller sandbox to test out, but now all the African nation presidents speak. So like hopefully other chips fall. But yes, you probably have to change the marketing from, hey, this is a crypto something, to like something more native in their own understanding of it. Yeah. Thanks.
So how is it growing up in Congo? Is there a big Asian community there, or are you, I don't know, I have no idea.
No, you're good. It's a little different because it's like, even in Africa, it's like one of 3 most dangerous countries because it's just very natural mineral rich country. So there's a lot of civil war. There's only one other Chinese people in my school. That was my sister. So there wasn't a lot of Chinese people. Yeah. Some missionaries, like American kids, a lot of just the locals. There's only one international American school. So like the president's daughter went there, the ambassador's kids went there, very gated. There's like a truck of army in the front. Like if she leaves early, there's some civil war or something happening. So it's very like that, yeah. Like I had to escape twice, 3rd grade and 7th grade overnight. First time to Togo, West Africa, second time Victoria, Canada, because of a civil war. Because like the rebel president always comes back, and then things like that, yeah. Yeah. I went to Hong Kong for high school though, so that was the international school, yeah. I feel like I gotta be advisor to your project at this point.
How did you start your first career as an investor or like
investor? To be honest, a lot of that was for my sister. Like, yeah, I'm not the type, like if it was up to me, I'd be trying to play professional basketball, so it's a little different. Let's see, I interned at a lot of brokerage firms and banks in my, when I was in college, even though I studied comp sci. I think that's the beauty about going to school in New York. You're dropped down in real life already, and you should access like internships and other real life type stuff. For example, interning for Sharps Technology. So things like that. And then when I graduated 2017 May, really timing is everything. If I graduated in 2016 or 2018, maybe I wouldn't have jumped headfirst into crypto, and I would have taken more of a hey, I'm gonna take a look at it or put 50% of my time. But because it was 2017, literally it was like everyone was talking about Bitcoin. It's like this is the newest technology. And because of that, there was a demand amongst the family offices and the investors that Alice, my sister, represented for a digital asset strategy. But as a 21-year-old just graduating, it's really hard to invest without any prior experience like that in a professional setting. So I actually invested a lot into other managers as a fund-to-fund model. So we invested in like Metastable before it was acquired by Dragonfly and a few other crypto funds. And through that, I got a lot of exposure because those funds have to report back to you what they're looking at, who they're investing in, what conferences they go to. And for me, it was like just a bunch of opportunity as a 21-year-old kid to go to all those things and learn from the industry. Yeah. So started off investing in that way. Yeah. Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, yeah. Already lots of questions. Maybe we can have a very short
Cool.
fireside chat. Maybe we can use this to.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. First of all, I would say it's maybe you can sit on this side.
Oh,
So that you're
okay.
in the camera.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm always in the camera, so it does not matter.
They know you.
Yeah, they know me. Yeah. First tip is that when I see kind of like presentations from many students, they always put a thank you on the last page of the slides. You can see, well, this is the best practice that you should